Hey y'all, it's your girl Mia,
And Whitney, welcome to the Black Coffee and Tea Podcast.
where you get your weekly dose of top stories, girl talk, and everything in between.
This is where you come when you need your coffee.
But want that tea. So get ready.
Next episode starts now.
Hey Whitney.
Hey Mia, what's going on?
Not much. Lovely day today.
Yeah, it's beautiful weekend, Saturday, up early.
Up early. I know our viewers are used to seeing us or the backgrounds being dark at night, at least mine.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that was windows like behind you.
Oh yeah, it's a window. It's kind of a glare right now. I had the windows open, but that glare was kind of strong though.
Yeah. See, I don't like to have my windows open because I'm on the first floor, so I'll crack my blinds, but I feel like people walk right by my window, and I'm a single female. I got to protect myself out here in these streets. People are crazy.
People are crazy. So are you, just to like ask, you're in California?
Like I am in California. It's a lot happening here. Thank God I'm not affected. I actually used to live in Thousand Oaks. That was actually my first place of residence when I moved to California.
Wow.
I lived there for like 7 months or so. So it's crazy to hear about that shooting. My heart goes out to everyone involved in any way. That's so sad. Thousand Oaks was actually named like one of the safest cities just a few years ago. It was like the third safest city in America, believed to be, you know?
It's crazy.
It's really suburban. It's really, it's far away from LA. It's probably a good like 40-minute drive from the city of LA, and it's very suburban. It's very like high class. A lot of celebrities live out that way.
Wow.
And it's just a few minutes from Calabasas and Malibu, which is where all the fires are happening right now as well. So, man.
Is it crazy to say that, like, when I found out about the Thousand Oaks shooting, and so for those that don't know, on what day was it? Was it Thursday? I think it was Thursday, or it was the day. The shooting.
It was a Wednesday night.
Okay, so Wednesday night, people found out, I think Thursday morning when they woke up anyway, at least I did, and a guy who, former military, he walked into a bar and started opening fire on just, everyone in the bar, specifically to the people that were line dancing, shot and killed, as we know of today, 12 victims. Several others were injured. And, which is really sad, but I was really, when I found out about the news, it was just crazy that I was like, oh, another shooting. Like, I felt extremely bad. Like, I was so sad. I was like, not again. But on the other side of that, I was like, here's another one,
Oh, yeah. We're becoming desensitized as a people,
Right.
This one really affected, I couldn't really ignore it because since I live in California, most of my family does not live in California. My friends don't live in California. So I got a lot of calls and texts when I woke up like, are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah. And for the people who know me, they know that I did used to live in Thousand Oaks. So they don't really know how far I am from that. So it kind of shook me, this one. I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, it's so close to where I am. And California is considered to be like a laid back state or whatever. So when stuff like this happens, it just, puts everyone on edge.
Earth-shattering. We had in Nashville, we had not too long ago, it was several months ago, but still within this year, we had the Waffle House. We were the known ones for the Waffle House mass shooting. And that was crazy in itself because, in the town that it happened, in the city, Antioch, it's a pretty happening city. It's, pretty popular to be in, specifically for Blacks. It's now becoming, I think, a little bit more suburban out there because they're trying to push people out from the city of Nashville out towards, more of the outer locations. And I don't know, it's a popular city, and it just speaks and shows that like it could be anywhere. It literally could be you. It literally could be
It was
you.
crazy when I heard about that Waffle House one too, earlier this year, because shoot, college, we were in Nashville in college, and the Waffle House was the spot. Like, everyone went to the Waffle House, especially at that time of night. I think when it happened, like, everyone went to the Waffle House after the parties, after the clubs. And I find it really heroic, that guy who actually ended up like saving a rack of people's lives because he attacked the shooter. And that's so heroic because like when you think about it, like usually it's one shooter with dozens and dozens of people. And it's like, it's sad to think, whoever does put their life on the line may possibly lose their lives, but they would save so many other lives. Like, imagine if when that guy came in, like 7 people bum rushed him instead of everyone running. Like,
I know.
Maybe some people would have been killed or whatever, but they probably would have gotten control over him if people would have, bum rushed him. But I'm not putting blame on anyone because who knows what you do in that position. That's scary as fuck. I have no idea what I do. I pray to God I never have to find out what I do. I just pray for safety and protection because I don't want to be around no crazy shit like that ever.
Right. How are the fires? Are they contained that you know of? Are they still on a wild?
I really don't know. I just know it seems to be like with the hills. So for the most part, all of these fires usually happen in the hills.
Is it because it's so dry? Is it because it's so dry, or
because it's dry? And then in the valley, it's way more dry than the rest of LA, which is cooled off by the breezes from the ocean.
Oh, okay.
Once you hit the valley, the temperatures are extreme. So they're extremely low at night and extremely high during the day when the sun's out.
Gotcha.
And also those houses and stuff, they're all separated and surrounded by nothing but like dried out grass and shrubs and other greenery. So it's just like, it's hard to contain those fires because it's literally random ass houses and mansions and little neighborhoods in the middle of just massive grass areas that are like dried out because we don't get enough water here in California. So it's a fire starter, and then it's hard for them to get to these houses because they're so, obscure, all up in the mountains and the hills. And so, I mean, it's hard to say, but it's usually rich people that are affected by these fires. Like, to be honest, for the most part, it's never really the people that live in the city or in the common areas. I mean, not to say that makes it any better, but I mean, at least those people usually all have fire insurance. They all can afford to move to a different place,
Right.
As long as they
enough time to evacuate and
as long as they have enough time to evacuate.
Gotcha.
But I saw that video of August Alsina that Shade Room posted, and he was literally like in the fire. And
really?
Yeah, it was his house. He was like taping his backyard, but it was literally just like fire everywhere and smoke and ashes. And people were like, see, this is what's wrong with society because your ass should be running out, but instead you're recording this for the gram. Like
everything for the gram.
Everything for the gram, man.
Everything for the gram.
Yeah.
Wow.
But crazy week. I'm definitely praying for everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say shout out to all those family members, victims, friends, everyone affected by the fires and the shooting. That's awful.
Tamara and her husband, their niece.
Tamara Mowry Housley, Adam Housley, who her husband is. They lost their niece in that shooting.
Crazy.
It's just another thing where it's so random. It's like, you just don't think it could be. I mean, I think people now think, yes, it could happen more than more than in the past. But when it really hits you, it's like, or hits somebody that or your family member, it just is like, wow. Even the fact of me hearing it in the media that it was a family member of Tamara and her husband, it was like, really? Like, because it's usually a lot of people that we don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like in the celebrity, I'm saying sense.
Yeah.
But it's sad. It's just so sad. It's so sad. And I hope that we never get used to it. But
it's an American tradition at this point. It's becoming, I was literally looking at some comments on Instagram of some people. Basically a guy had posted a meme, or not a meme, but he posted a video that kind of went viral, basically just saying that, mass shootings is an American tradition. This doesn't happen in other places of the world. And so I guess he had a lot of international followers. So they were commenting and they were like, is there a war going on in America? They were like, what's happening there? Like, why is everyone getting shot? Like, they just were legit confused in the comments.
Right.
Like, is there a war in America? Like, they didn't know. And
Right.
it's just like, imagine if we were hearing that from the other side, like, oh shit, they bombing people over in Syria or whatever. Like, it's the same thing. Like, we like to separate ourselves from the rest of the world and say we're not a third world country and we're this and that. But other countries are looking at us like, what the hell is going on with y'all?
Right.
Y'all just killing people for no reason,
Right.
And it's just, it's a sensitive time right now politically. So it's just like, this holds a lot of weight because like the country is divided, and I'm kind of divided on it too with the whole gun control thing. Because like, of course, people are going to now be more fearful of their safety. And now some people want tougher gun control laws. But then at the same time, it's like, you don't want the fear of this to strip the citizens of their rights to bear arms, because shit, we don't know what the state of this country may be. And people may need those guns for security in their own homes, you know? So it's a difficult place, I hope we find a solution. I mean, good thing is the Democrats have the House, and hopefully, I'm hoping for an impeachment coming soon, but we're going to see.
I think he's going to get another term.
I don't know. We're going to see what they do with this 2 years. They haven't had the House in 2 years, and I feel like they already got some shady ass, techniques of trying to keep some people out. And
apparently this midterm election was, we had a lot of great things to come out of it as far as Democrats. But in the same sense, this was like a overall win for the Republicans still, from what I've heard. I'm not super political, but I stay in the know enough to know, how it's going to affect me.
Well, they don't lead the House of Representatives, which they had been leading for 2 years. So it's not a major gain, but
there are gains.
In checks and balances, now it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle between the president and a battle between the House. And they're going to go back and forth because they each need each other to get bills passed and so. So Trump's going to be battling the House, and the House is going to be battling Trump. And it's like, we're going to see how it plays out.
We'll see. To be continued.
Yeah, we will see. So, yeah. Another crazy topic or issue that was trending, I don't know if you heard about it or not, but this whole Danye Jones, a young man was found hung from a tree in Ferguson, Missouri, and the circumstances involving the case is very, very suspicious, I'd say. And
why do you say that?
So there's a few reasons, but it's even more suspicious the fact that like nobody has heard about this. Like major media won't speak on it. They don't want anyone to think that there was a lynching happening in 2018. So it's not being talked about. The only reason it is semi being talked about by some people is because a video and picture, I think, went viral of his body hanging. So that's kind of how it got notoriety online. And so basically the whole backstory about this is, we all know Mike Jones, okay, the guy that was the young man that was shot by the police, killed. Yes. It was a lot of controversy over that, and ever since that incident, a lot of protesters and activists they have risen up in that city, trying to make change, trying to blah blah blah. The city has not taken well to these activists. So ever since 2014, when Mike Brown died, there has been suspicious deaths of major political protesters and activists, Black, and unsolved. So, for instance, like, let me see, DeAndre Joshua, he was found with 2 gunshots in the head. Like, these are people who were like marching every day on the streets and trying to like get change and stuff. Edward Crawford in 2017, Darren Seals, and these are just very suspicious like terms. And all of these people were political protesters, okay? And so this boy, Danye Jones, his mother, Melissa McKinney, she's a very known activist in Ferguson. She has been battling the police, the court systems. She had reported months prior to finding her son in the backyard that she had been receiving death threats, all of that, okay? All of it's going ignored. So when she comes home and she finds her child, I think he's like 21 years old. He was hanging from a white bed sheet that she claims did not come from her house. She's like, that's not her bed sheet. The police refused to hand it over to her to inspect. Okay, so her son's body is found hanging in like further in her backyard in a tree. She calls the police. The police get there. They immediately just say, oh, it's suicide. You know, this is typical. We're gonna wait for the coroner to come. The coroner comes. They start to take the body down, and she's like, what the hell? You're not gonna take pictures. You're not gonna like. There should be some investigation going on. The police just kind of looked at her crazy. So her uncle, her brothers, the guy's uncle, they decided to take pictures of the body as it was hanging as their only proof of, you know, how the body was found and everything. Because of the police refusal to investigate this as a homicide, they decided to release those images of her son hanging on social media, which created at least a little bit of recognition. So that's what she's looking at right now. I think they said on Shade Room that she's trying to start a GoFundMe so that she can get a private investigator, a private coroner, because they're not doing her son justice. And my thing is, even if it was suicide, y'all still need to investigate it like it isn't. You need to be 100% sure if that's a suicide. And I feel like it's not. You know, to me, it's just like, how many people really hang themselves outside of their homes anyway? If you're really going to kill yourself, most likely you kill yourself in your home, or you're going to jump off a building or something like that, or maybe your car, but it's usually in a personal space. You're not going to hang yourself from a tree and you're a Black man. And
Right.
I just don't see that. And they said he showed no signs of depression. He was a really happy person. He, not saying that happy people can't be depressed, but they said it came from nowhere. And he had like a real estate business that he had just started being very successful. So he was really happy and excited about it. So none of it makes sense. And the fact that the police are trying to bury this issue silently and no media is picking up on it, it has my spidey senses like, what the hell is really going on here? And what's going on in Ferguson, period.
Oh man, it's so loaded. It's so, I mean, there's so many different angles to attack this from. And I think the resolution in this, if there ever is one, God, I just can't imagine being the mother, you know, of this boy. But if there was to be some sort of anything, I would say to keep going, keep fighting for justice, no matter if it, you know, seems bleak and nobody's, you know, fighting alongside of you, or, you know, even with these police officers and people and media not picking this up, keep going, because I feel like anytime I don't know, my heart just breaks for any parent that has to bury their child, regardless if it's a wrongful death or something they saw coming, you know, it could be an illness. But God, like, to actually have to be in this woman's footsteps, knowing something shady happened to her son and not having that support and backing from these outlets, from the people who we pay as American citizens with our taxes, these officers that are not doing their due diligence, is very disheartening. And again, for me, this is another story where it's like, here we go again, you know? And
to me,
think about all the people that we don't know about. Like, it's almost like what do we do? The only thing I can say do from a society standpoint is to just not only uplift this woman in prayers, but yes, if there is a GoFundMe support, so that she can have the funds to hire the people that will help with resolving this case. And then on the other side of that, it's like, how do you fight the government? Like when there is shady business, how do you uncover and peel back the government?
I don't know. It's
because it sounds so fishy.
It's very fishy, and it's reminiscent of back in the day when all of these leaders would come up, the Black Panther leaders, because this Black Lives Matter, this is just a new age Black Panther in government's opinion. FBI has their eyes on Black Lives Matter. Like, you've seen how they've kind of suppressed Black Lives Matter. They don't really, they're making it seem like it's a negative thing. They press media, it's a bad connotation when you think about Black Lives Matter. And they have been trying to suppress any type of Black activist leaders. Like, they don't want us to have no leaders, okay? And whatever leaders that we do have, they got to be peaceful. We're going to be very compromising type of leaders. They're not going to have any type of leaders in the Black community that's going to call for action and call for any type of real reform. Like, they're not going to allow that. You know what I'm saying? It's sad, but it just seems it's obviously some conspiracy involved, in my opinion, just with the whole Ferguson thing, period. Like, I don't know.
I think we just have to keep talking about it. We just have to keep talking about it, recognizing these stories, because I know that there's been other stories that have not gotten much momentum behind them. It's almost like we see them posted, but you just scroll past it. It's like, oh damn, another one, scroll past, except for the more prominent, popular ones that we hear about that make it to the news. But I think that we're doing our country a service by saying, no, hold on, wait, what was that? Repost. Did you hear about such and such that happened in Ferguson? Did you hear about what happened in Illinois? Did you hear what happened in Idaho? We've got to keep putting our own, with all of this technology that we have just as civilians. Like, we have to band together and put light and shed light on these stories to rally together to help these families figure out, okay, we stand by you, we stand with you, we stand by you.
This mother, she doesn't play. She went hard for Mike Brown, and she went hard for a lot of other people, because she believed that they were already targeting those activists that had died before her son got killed. And so now she really believes what the hell is going on. And if you listen to her speak, she has a lot of videos on YouTube or whatever. She's just trying to find awareness and trying to figure out her next best move. But she says she can't even cry no more. She was like, y'all fucked with the wrong person. You know what I'm saying? You fuck with the wrong son, because now you think I went hard for Mike Brown? See how hard I go for my own son. Like, you have no choice but to take me out of here. And she was like, and if you do take me out of here, there's 100 other people behind me who's going to step in my place. So try to take us all out of here, and she's really just stating a declaration of war. And this is going over mainstream media's heads. They're not even seeing it. Most people don't know about it. But if you tune into it, you'll see what's really going on here. Like, it's some deep stuff. So
shout out to what's the last name of the family? The boy.
The victim is Danye Jones, and his mother is a Black Lives Matter activist, Melissa McKinney's. So support her. I believe she has a GoFundMe.
So. Yeah. It's unfortunate. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I have a son, and I am afraid for him every day he leaves my house.
Yeah.
And he's aggressive. He's like what you would consider a true boy, that terminology. Like, he's like a boy's boy. He likes to get rough and tough. And sometimes he does not think about the things that he says, or he doesn't know his own strengths. So when he does play with, little girls or other boys, sometimes it becomes, and you have to say, hey, unfortunately, you can't do that. Like, yes, she did that to you. She's a white girl.
Yeah.
She's a white girl that did that to you. And I'll share a story really quick that what happened at my son's school last year. This was the beginning of the year. His teacher, he was in 3rd grade, and I got an email from his teacher, and it's basically just said, hey, we wanted to, I wanted to reach out to you, let you know that I had a conversation with Carter. I almost wrote him up. However, it looks like we got it handled. It was between him and another young lady, and we almost wrote him up, but, we need you to talk to him, to make sure this doesn't happen again. So I get the email, and I'm thinking like, okay, there's no details on what happened. You want me to talk to my son about something that you did not share with me what happened. Furthermore, when I go and pick up my child and I ask him what happened, 9 times out of 10, he's going to be like, I don't know. I don't know. Did you get in trouble? No. So anytime you say you're about to write my son up and it's going to go in his file for whatever the case is, that's a phone call. You need to call me and say, hey, this is what happened. This is how we corrected it. Can you help support us by making sure this does not happen again? I knew nothing.
They don't call home to parents anymore?
Well, so
when I was in school, they loved to call your parents about everything.
They do call. It's just crazy because back, and I was just like, okay, sure, I'll talk to him. Absolutely. What happened? And needless to say, she did not respond to me that day. So I had to get my son and talk to him about God knows whatever, because he didn't remember. He didn't know, or even if he was lying, he didn't tell me. So I'm just saying, hey, whatever it was, you need to make sure you don't do that. You were going to get written up. The next day, she's like, oh, well, he was we think he was talking about sex with a little girl in the cafeteria.
And they didn't call you for that?
So I said, okay. I said, well, I will make sure I talk to him, yada, yada, yada.
But why did they think that?
So I said, well, here's the thing. I said, well, thank you for telling me what happened. This way I can actually know what to talk to my son about. I said, but after you talk to my son, after you talk to the little girl, when you sat my son down, what did he say that he said? Oh, Miss Carter, I'm so sorry. I didn't get a chance to talk to your son about what his side of the story was. Da 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 da. What?
Girl.
Wait a minute. I said, and I told her again. I said, excuse me. I said, I'm going to ask again. After you sat that little girl down and you got her side of the story, when you brought my son in to sit him down, what did he say that he said? I'm so sorry. It was the end of the day. We were rushing. I did not have a chance to talk to Carter. So you were going to write my son up without even verifying what he said that he said?
He's just automatically wrong.
And so when I did talk to my son, he was in the cafeteria and he said that they were talking about animals, like cats and dogs. And they were talking about breastfeeding. So that's a natural conversation. You know what I'm saying? Now, whoever heard that, okay, but that's part of the anatomy. Breastfeeding, a kitten, dog, he has seen kids being breastfed with mothers in real life. That's human, that's science. So again, you're telling me that this little girl saying he's talking about sex, they're talking about breastfeeding kittens. She was like, I am so sorry, this won't happen again, da da da. So I took it to the next level. I took it to the principal. She got in her butt, like everybody, the assistant, like I'm not going, because I don't play about that.
Is the teacher white?
Yes. And the little girl was white.
Is the little girl white? Yeah, exactly.
The little girl was white. Yep. And
they're always going to be the victim. That's just
always going to be the victims. Always going to be the victims. And I just was so angry that my son did not get his right to sit down and to speak, because my thing is, as parents, we get on him when he's wrong. We praise him when he's right, but we also get in his butt when he's wrong. Yep. But to sit up here and say you were going to automatically write up my son based on something that you didn't even give him the opportunity to explain, where do they do that at?
Right.
You even call me to tell me what happened. You email me to tell me to talk to him about bubkiss. So yeah, like that isolated situation alone had me just, I was like, this could always be worse.
And it's like, thank God that you are a parent who talks to their child and doesn't automatically assume, oh, you fucked up again. I'm gonna fuck your ass up.
Right.
You know, thank God you're not one of those
parents,
because it's a lot of parents out there who be like, especially if a child is used to getting in trouble, they're not even gonna think twice. I'm like, oh, this teacher, oh, you got written up. Okay. Like that affects kids and stuff. And it's just like, it's always the black boy, you know, it's always their fault.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, and it's unfortunate, and it's the reality. So we've had tons of conversations about, unfortunately, you can't do that because of your skin color. You do have to be a little bit more relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've had to have these real conversations.
Does he understand the concept of that?
He is still a kid. So in the moment, you know, while you're talking to him, it's like, okay, yes, mommy, I'm sorry. Yes.
Have you talked to him about or shown him like Black history? Does he know about slavery and racism and Martin Luther King? And
he does. He does. Now again, he's
what
still
I can say is my mom had me through a whole Black history course that was not in school, and it's really shaped me to who I was, and she had to, because I was one of 2 Black kids in the whole school. So she knew I wasn't gonna get no history about African Americans in that environment, and it really, you know, shaped my outlook. So
anything we do, we try to help supplement, whether it's math, science. I mean, it's just not enough in the schools anymore.
Of course. But being Black Americans, that
absolutely, we approach that from everything, because they're just not, kids are not getting what they, I feel like, used to in schools, and even not even so much history. That's always been an issue. I'm just saying, like, as we're progressively moving to this more techie world, things are getting scarier. You know, little kids are walking around with these phones like this the whole time, like no interaction between individuals, nothing. And so it's getting really scarier. So for me, it's like you have to tighten up. Parents have to tighten up from all aspects. Another thing I've noticed is these teachers, you've got a lot of teachers nowadays that just don't care. They don't care.
I think it's always
they're into the but it's always been
had a shitload of teachers that didn't give a fuck.
There's been
nobody all my life.
Really? See, I grew up in an age where I felt like I had teachers that, like, not all my teachers, and I'm not saying it's never an all. I mean, there's always been the exceptions and stuff like that, but I just feel like from the school districts, it really takes parents to really be involved in their children's lives, because there's not that social interaction. These kids are not going outside playing with their neighbors. They're inside. These conversations are not mouth to mouth. It's literally in a phone. It's in a game. It's everything's sneaky. Everything is just them being fed information from, the internet. Like, it's just crazy. And I just, like I said, I really do want to just throw out the message that we as parents have to be better parents. We just have to be better parents and feed our kids, talk to our kids, take it back to the red table. Not literally red. I'm saying having those conversations in the family time where it's like, okay, what happened at school today? Tell me. Like, what did you do? No, don't tell me, oh, school was fine. Okay, what was fine about it? Like, that way I can uncover, because, you do want to be your child's friend, parent first, but that's how you uncover what's all happening. And that's the biggest thing that I wanted to kind of pair with the whole, my son didn't get a chance to tell his side of the story because of some bullshit. And he wasn't going to come home and tell me that. If she didn't reach out to me, he wasn't going to come home and tell me that. So it's like, I just encourage parents to really get involved with their kids. Like you said, even with history, that's huge, because they're not being taught that. And even if they are being taught a portion of African-American history, it's the history that they want you to know. You know what I mean? It's still not,
So I have a question, because I'm obviously I'm not a parent yet, but I just want to know, your son, he is a Black man. He will be a Black man soon in America. And it's like, how do you find that line, or like, when is the right age, you think, to tell him about these things, like, Black men getting shot by the police, and
we talk about that now.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Because
because
I'm
he
like,
has a
because
temper. I mean,
I would
yeah,
want to inform my child, but at the same
yeah,
time, I wouldn't want to, scare them, to think that that's going to happen to them too soon. But at the same time, they need to be aware. So it's just like, I know that's difficult to try to have those
very difficult,
conversations and
very
how to
difficult.
deal with the police and,
Very difficult, very, very difficult. Yeah, we've had these conversations. He's 10 now. He just turned 10. I want to say we started having these conversations at like 8, because at 7 he just wasn't mentally there to actually
yeah,
know what was, you know what I mean? Like he just wasn't. And I think it depending on your child. So that's a determination that you make within your household at what age is the best for that child,
mm-hmm.
to have those kind of conversations. And you dice it up, you baby feed it to them in the sense of whatever age level that they're on. So I'm not having these high level, adult conversations. It's more so, you know, these, Carter, there's these things that are happening in the news, and, that temper that you had today, where you went off and, you just could not control your anger. You really have to control your anger, because what you don't want to happen is da 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 da. And
Yeah.
this is what has happened before. And so,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of just you take their real life situations that they can relate to, and you relay it back to what's actually happened. Because there are 11-year-olds getting treated like adults, getting locked up, getting, and I'm not saying that.
When I was in school, like around middle school age, there was a lot of like police brutality. And one of
Mm-hmm.
my very close friends, I witnessed the police basically beat her up, attack her, treat her like, we were probably like 13, and they treated her like she was an adult.
Like a
And
grown woman.
she ended up getting suing them and getting a settlement because of it, because her parents, they just fucked with the wrong black girl. They didn't know. But
Yeah.
because of those experiences that I have been involved in, like I do know that when I do have kids, especially if I have a black man, I would be so afraid of the police, like that whole thing, because they just literally see black men or even black young boys as a threat.
We've
It's
talked to him
sick,
about toy guns.
sick.
Toy guns, you can't take toy guns. I don't even allow him to play guns outside with the neighbors. Like, how they have
Yeah.
water guns and all these kinds, like back in the day, that was our favorite thing to do, was water guns, have water fights,
That's
do the
so sad.
firefighter hose thing, and just be
That's so
kids.
sad.
You cannot do that. And he loves a hoodie. So we talked to him about a hoodie, where to put us, like, I don't
So sad.
love these conversations, but I'm aware and I'm woke enough to know that we have to have them.
Yeah.
And I refuse to have my child go out into this world uninformed.
Mm-hmm.
And although he will make those decisions, and I just hope that he has listened to me and his dad and his village, as he grows up and becomes his own person in this world, I do hope that he does make those right decisions and those sound decisions, and whatever it is that we've instilled in him, he actually, he lives that out. But the reality is, you could be doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing and just still get shot. You could be the nicest black guy. You could be, yes, sir. What do you need? Okay, I'm going to go and you still get blowed off, So it's just,
Yeah.
it's very unfortunate. I mean, that's the reality of it too, is that you could be doing exactly and that's what a lot of people, adults, argue, is like, man, fuck the cops. If I'm nice, I'm still going to, it's like, I'm not going to be no sucker. I'm not going to be doing all this when they're talking shit to me and I'm sitting here being nice. And, there's that.
At least you can likely your odds.
You're like, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
just fuck it. Let them have it. Take
yeah,
the
let them
ride.
have it.
Your
Let them
life,
have it. It's
girl.
one moment. What's the alternative?
It's sad. We don't have the same rights as, a lot
We
of
don't.
people, but we will make do with what we got, like always.
Do with what we got, always.
Yep. So stay up. This has been a very, very powerful episode.
Yes.
Black coffee and tea today, I feel.
Yeah, for sure.
So definitely share this out there, y'all, to anyone raising, Black kids in this time and day and age. Your friends, please get the word out about Danye Jones, and let's see if we can, make a change.
And I want to encourage white parents.
If you enjoyed
who
this
have black
episode, make
kids
sure you
or
subscribe to
other
the Black Coffee
ethnicity
and
of
Tea
parents that are
available
raising
now
black
on
kids.
iTunes,
It's
Spotify,
extremely
SoundCloud,
important
and YouTube.
for you
And
to
if you want to be a
let
part of the
them know
BCT
who they
fam,
are.
make sure you
You
follow
know,
us on Instagram at
it's gotta
BCT
happen.
Podcast.
Until next
happen.
time.
Good point.
So, all right.